The latest college football playoff top 25 and bracket has officially been released. And boy, oh boy, do we have some thoughts? Do we have some comments? Some teams getting stiffed, some teams getting screwed, and projections are here. Again, top 25 bracket as conference championship weekend is upon us. There will be some shuffling. There will be some movement. But for some that aren't in those games, that can't control their destiny, well, we're going to talk about it. That's all I'll say. Again, guys, we appreciate you all tuning in. I'm Chris Phillips. He's Cole Thompson. We got a lot to get into, a lot to discuss here on this Tuesday night. As always, make sure you hit that like and subscribe button on YouTube, guys. We are creeping ever so close to that 30,000 subscriber mark. We cannot get there without your love and support. So again, make sure you smash that like and subscribe button. Guys, as always, check out our friends over at FanDuel because we are brought to you by our friends at FanDuel, FanDuel.com/SECU to join today and get started with $250 in bonus bets when you win your first $5 bet. Once again, that is FanDuel.com/SECU to get in on the action. Today, it is Tuesday, December the 2nd, 2025. Conference Championship Weekend is officially upon us. The regular season is in the books, and we're talking college football playoff top 25, and, of course, the latest projected bracket. This is the last show before the last show when we will know the full-on bracket. On Sunday, we'll know who's in the college football playoffs. So for very obvious reasons, we are glued into this one. We got a lot of big thoughts and opinions on this bracket, on this top 25. As always, guys, I'm Chris Phillips. Joining me, as he always does, my co-host colleague, one of the best in the business, Mr. Cole Thompson. Bear, what's going on, my friend? Appreciate you taking the time. Brother, we got a lot to discuss here on a Tuesday night.
So you guys going to give the Heisman Trophy to Diego Pavia for keeping him out of the college football playoff? I mean, I'm just wondering at this point. I'm just wondering what you need LC to go ahead and guarantee that a season in Nashville is not going to be wasted. You know, just little things like that. We're not going to sit here and argue, I guess. I mean, that's fine.
Yeah, that being said, Cole, let's get right into it. Again, you and I both have some big opinions on this. Guys, we'd love to, by the way, take your questions, your comments, whatever you've got. Of course, the beauty is in the banter. I see Old Man Sports Talk talking Texas on the thumbnail. Why are they in the thumbnail? They're not in the playoffs. We'll get there. We'll get there. G Glimpse 23, appreciate you tuning in. Dylan Baskins, what's up? Mac, what's going on? Michael Ray Lynn. Again, we will get into all these comments here shortly. Glorfindolo Gondolin, I think is how you say that. I don't know. Either way, guys, like I mentioned, keep it coming. Keep it coming. Jason Grady's in here as well. That being said, let's dive right into it. And again, keep your questions and your comments coming because we want to get your reactions to everything that was unveiled tonight. Bear, that being said, let's pull up the top 25 first. We will start 25 through 21. James Madison found themselves in the top 25 tonight. They slide in that 25 spot. North Texas at 24, Iowa at 23, Georgia Tech 22, and 21 Houston. By the way, I'll include number 20 because Tulane is going to take on North Texas this weekend in their conference championship game. But Bear, this continues as we see 20 through 25. This goes to what we've been talking about. If Duke is able to upset Virginia in the ACC title, which they will. Which they very well could. They very well might do it. We are going to have two G5 teams in the college football playoff. I don't know how you feel about that. That irks the shit out of me. I don't know how you feel about that.
This is what you want to playoff. This is what you wanted. This is what you signed up for. You never thought it was possible. This is why addendums. This is why conversations. This is why making sure you get the top 12 teams in. Because of last season, it was, oh, well, Boise State, can't give them a first-round bye. We can't give them a first-round bye. All right, well, you did. And now you got to go ahead and put JMU. And don't sleep on North Texas either. North Texas very well could upset Tulane. They would end up going instead. You could have the number 25 and the number 24 team in with Texas, Miami, BYU, Notre Dame, and Vanderbilt all looking on the outside in. Just throw that out there. But hey, this is what you wanted. This is what you signed up for. So don't be complaining about rankings and all about ratings in a few weeks because the teams, this is what happens when you don't do your job and just say the 12 best teams go to the playoff.
Bear continuing along with the top 25, 19 Michigan, 18 Arizona, 17 Virginia, like we mentioned, who's taken on Duke in the ACC title, 16 USC, 15 Utah. Finally, at 14, we get an SEC team, and that is the Vanderbilt Commodores, which all but ensures, Bear, that Vanderbilt's historic 10-2 season, potentially their quarterback, who probably should, maybe he will win the Heisman Trophy, but being at 14, Cole, with nothing in your control here from here on out, it's all but ensures you're going to miss the college football playoff, and I'm fucking pissed about it. If I'm being totally honest, I am upset by this. I think it's a travesty. Burn the whole thing down, because a 10-2 SEC team, a 10-2 Vandy team, is more than likely going to miss the college football playoff being at the number 14 spot.
The reason I hate this is because we respect head-to-heads all across the board. We respect a head-to-head with Oklahoma over Alabama. We respect a head-to-head with Texas over Vanderbilt. Meanwhile, we have Miami sitting at number 12 and Notre Dame sitting at number 10. Make that make sense. Because if we're going to say that Texas at 9-3, which we will get to in a minute, if we're going to say that, then we need to respect head-to-heads. Miami's sitting on the outside in, Notre Dame riding high, 10-game win streak, losses to a head-to-head Miami, losses to a head-to-head Texas A&M, but still, Texas A&M with one loss gets ahead of them. It's ridiculous. I feel for Notre Dame. I feel for Vanderbilt fans. I feel for people in Nashville. It's a season that you will never forget, but you won't be able to see it through. You did, but you know what you did? You did everything possible to give the committee a reason to tell you no. You made sure that they had to look you in the face and tell you no. And you know what? Now they're going to riot. And there deserves to be a riot in the streets of Nashville right now. Here's the one thing I will tell you, Chris. I feel pretty damn confident that Diego Pavia is going to win the Heisman Trophy. Because there will be people out there, there will be voters that will say, okay, well, Jeremiah Love's in the playoff. Well, Julian Sainz in the playoff. Well, Fernando Mendoza's in the playoff. We got to give Diego Pavia something. I'm going to vote for him for the Heisman. You will have those pity votes. There are people out there that will do that all the time. So I feel pretty damn good that Vandy is going to get at least a Heisman Trophy winner out of this.
I just never thought we would come to a day, Cole, where a 10-2 SEC team with two losses that, and I know Texas fans have barked all day about it, that game wasn't close in Austin. Well, they lost by 3. I mean, for what it's worth, they lost by 3. Hey, y'all were down 17 in Starkville and had to come all the way back too. Nobody called that garbage time. They called it a comeback. So, and that's not even a shot at Texas, but it's just the reality. Let's keep things consistent if we're going to talk about that, all right? I mean, I never thought I'd see a day where a 10-2 SEC team is, with 2 competitive losses in conference play, is going to miss the playoff. And if it was a different brand, I don't think they would. I'll be honest with you. I don't think they would.
No, they wouldn't.
I really don't.
They wouldn't. If you switch the logo and you put it over to Texas, they'd be in the playoff. They wouldn't. Say whatever you want. Argue with me all you want. If it was Texas 10-2, they'd be in the playoff. They'd find room for them.
Yeah, I agree. Speaking of, Bear, 1 spot ahead of Vanderbilt at number 13. The Texas Longhorns, they move up, I believe it was 3 spots after they beat Texas A&M. Now just kind of right there on the outside looking in, would probably need some chaos this weekend. I know you got a lot of feelings and a lot of thoughts on the Longhorns.
Listen, I've rattled back and forth with this. I have all day. I completely understand when you are a Texas fan and you want to talk about the quality of wins you have. I do. And I completely understand that you have to do your PR consistency if you're Steve Sarkisian, because you got to put yourself in the playoff conversation. You got to tell everybody, okay, you know what? Fine. Let's figure out a way that we can go ahead and guarantee with our 3 top 10 wins, a first time since 2019, we still belong in the college football playoff. I'm all for it. All for it. No problem there. Here's where I have a problem. And Steve Sarkisian, you lost me at this point. You want to go ahead and take some shots at Miami. You want to go ahead and take some shots at Notre Dame for running up the score against teams like Stanford and against teams like Pitt. Okay, I get that. And then you want to talk about afterwards how, the committees, they're just not watching the games. They're just looking at the scoreboard and they're saying, that's how we know who won the game. That's how we know what team is better. Okay, cool. Let's go play this game then, Texas. You want to go have this fun? Let's go play this game. You want to open up the can of whoop ass? Let's go talk about it. Remember the game against Kentucky where you had to go to overtime? That was a win. You had 19 fewer first downs than Kentucky. You were outgained 395 to 179. You had more penalties. You lost time of possession by 19 minutes. You had 132 passing yards, and the only thing that you won besides the game was the turnover battle. But you won the game. Did the committee look at that game? Or did they just say, oh, no, it's Texas, it got to win? You lost the margin of victory in both the first down marker, the third down conversion rate. You were outgained by Mississippi State. You were outthrown by Mississippi State. You averaged fewer yards per pass attempt. You had more penalties, and you lost time possession in the Mississippi State game. But you won the game in overtime. Was the committee looking at that game? Was the committee looking at those games? Because if you want to go ahead and say, we're going to take shots at Miami, we're going to take shots at Notre Dame, for their schedule, when you played the bottom dwellers, 2 non-bowl bid teams in the SEC, and you got outgained in every category by them, you can't be tooting your own horn and then coming back and saying, but they only are paying attention to the games of what the record says. Because in both of those matchups, you got whooped on both sides, but you won the game. So spare me. So spare me when it comes to that. You want to go ahead and play this game, I'm totally fine. But if you're going to go ahead and say it, you better say it fully. You barely survived Mississippi State. You barely survived Kentucky. You got 3 great wins. You also have 3 losses. You belong right there at number 13. That is as far as you were going to move. And you're not going to the playoff. I said that. I said that last week. I stood on business. Told you it wasn't going to matter what happened on Friday night. You beat your rivals. You're in a really good spot going into the offseason. Your offseason is starting now because you're not going to the college football playoff.
Bear running through the top 12, 12 Miami, 11 BYU, 10 Notre Dame, 9 Alabama, 8 Oklahoma, 7 Texas A&M tumbles to after they lose to Texas. 6 Ole Miss, no Lane Kiffin, no issue. They stay in that 6th spot. 5 Oregon, 4 Texas Tech, 3 Georgia, 2 Indiana, 1 Ohio State, and that gives us this college football playoff bracket. Of course, your top 4 getting byes: Ohio State, Indiana, Georgia, and Texas Tech, which means this is your first round here, starting with the 5-12 matchup, which I'm having to pull for. Oh, conference champion. Yes. So the 11 and 12 spots are still undetermined. So is the 11 spot going to be Virginia, or are we going to have 2 of these filled by G5s? Either way, Oregon is going to play the 12 seed. They're going to host that game on their home field. Ole Miss, as of right now, and deservingly so, and they better not move out of this spot, deservingly so, home playoff game in Oxford against the 11 seed. Again, will that be a G5? Will that be the ACC champion Virginia? We'll have to wait and see. Home playoff game in College Station, Cole, as Texas A&M, Notre Dame, a rematch from earlier in the season. We'll talk more about that in a second. I do have some opinions on that. And then the 8-9, boy, oh boy, another rematch of a game that was in Tuscaloosa, Oklahoma and Alabama, but this version would be in Norman. OU, the 8 seed, hosting Alabama, the 9 seed. Cole, my immediate thoughts on this. We'll see what happens with 11 and 12. I mean, it obviously bodes really well for you if you're Ole Miss and you're Oregon, if you're playing a G5 team right out of the gate. Take nothing for granted, but I'm glad to see, obviously, Ole Miss as the home playoff game, as they deserve to do so. We were wondering what the committee might do because you lose Lane Kiffin. Again, this football team has earned every right to play for what they have earned, which is that home playoff game to be hosting in the first round. They've earned that. They've absolutely earned that. I'm glad the talks of, Ole Miss is going to get left out of the playoff. That is such a non-reality at this point. I got to be honest with you. I don't love the rematches in the other 2 games. It's like I've already seen this. I'd love to see some variation. I know obviously they'd be at different sites, but we saw A&M Notre Dame very, very early in the season, and we saw Oklahoma Bama just a few weeks ago. The atmospheres will be electric. I mean, Kyle Field will be great. Gaylord Family Memorial Stadium there in Oklahoma would be great. Your thoughts, Bear? This is I don't want to say it's an underwhelming first round, but it's not as exciting as I would like, to be honest with you.
Couple things. Number one, you just found out that Alabama's going to the college football playoff if they lose close. Guaranteed. Because what happened? They moved Notre Dame to 10. They moved Alabama to 9. Why did they do that? Because if at some point they had to realize that they were going to see that Alabama playing in a conference game could not be penalized for a team that doesn't play in a conference. So they made that switch. The other thing that we got to know is Oklahoma and Alabama aren't playing each other. They're not, because Alabama's either going to move on up, and I think this is going to happen. Whether or not you want to agree with me, it's fine. If Alabama wins the SEC title, they would have been the number 1 team in the SEC at the start of the kickoff. They'd be the number 1 team at the end of the SEC regular season. They would get a first round bye. They would move all the way up to number 4. So Alabama at 9, they're not locked in at 9, which means Notre Dame eventually can move there, which means that Texas A&M could move on up. Oklahoma can move on back. That's happening.
Georgia would move down.
Anything's going to happen. The other thing is that, let's say Alabama loses. Well, now you can say because of one team is 10-3, one team is 10-2, Alabama would move to the 10 spot. They would actually face off against Texas A&M. Notre Dame would go back to play against Oklahoma in the Palace on the Prairie. So that's going to change. Like, I can already tell you that one. I think what you got to wonder about is what happens to Ole Miss and what happens to Oregon if BYU and Alabama win, because it's clear that Texas Tech is not getting moved out of the playoff. They're a lock to be on it at this point. So if BYU wins, I think that you got to at least move them into the top 10 because they're sitting at number 11. If Alabama wins, I think that you move them into the top 4. So does that mean that you move Indiana and Texas Tech out and they're not hosting playoff games, which means that 7's actually going to be Oregon, 8's actually going to be Ole Miss. Now, Oklahoma, that's hosting a playoff game right now, they're selling tickets. They're going through all this merchandising stuff. Now they're playing on the road. Now Texas A&M is playing on the road. Is that what we're going to see? That's going to be really interesting to me. And then what do you do with the BYU situation? Well, you kick out Notre Dame. And then everyone gets to go ahead and say, oh, you know what? Head-to-head didn't matter. Now that we have a team that has won the conference, now that we have a team that plays in the conference, sorry, Notre Dame, you're out. And they made sure to put them at number 10 because they have to have a contingency plan in motion if that is to occur on Saturday. If BYU goes into Arlington, Kalani Sitake's not going to Penn State, just turned down Pat Kraft. That is an hysterical conversation that we can talk about as well. It's very funny to see how bad they're struggling out in State College right now. If they win that game, they got to go because they're a conference champion. But you're not penalizing a team that has won a head-to-head in the regular season. So a lot of things could change from now. But I think it's abundantly clear we have the 10 teams that are going to be on it. The question is, do we have we have 9 teams that are going to be on it. Is 10 going to be BYU or is 10 going to be Notre Dame? Who is going to be and who is going to be 12? And that changes a lot of ways for you to feel pretty confident about who goes where and where you set on up for the semifinals and who's got a clean path to go to the college football playoff national championship. Because there's a lot of things that could change to where one game, you feel like that you're the underdog. Next game, you're the favorite by double digits.
Very masterful job of explaining that all. Really, truly. That was probably about as good as you could do explaining it. I'll ask you, do you see any path? Because you mentioned, and I agree with you, I think those top 9, it feels like, are locked in. And that 10th, I agree with everything you said. With Notre Dame, could potentially get bumped out. Is there any remote path for somebody not named BYU to get in there? Can Miami sneak in? Could, God forbid, Texas sneak? Is there any path at all, or is it just a dead convo?
I think it's Miami, and the only reason why is at some point the committee finally says, guys, head-to-heads have got to matter. Head-to-heads have to matter. That's it. The other thing I could see, and this is where the committee could be really sneaky, they don't want to have the ACC not represented in the playoff. So what do you do if somehow Duke beats Virginia, and now we got 2 G5 teams in? Well, you say, hey, the head-to-head had to matter at some point. Miami moves all the way up to number 10. Number 11 is Notre Dame. And then you can play it off as, guys, the head-to-head had to matter. We needed representation in a conference. This is now going to piss off people in South Bend. They're going to say, guys, we should be punished like this, but you got to play in a conference. And Miami played a conference schedule, and Notre Dame didn't. That'd be it. But I don't see a scenario for Texas because right now Texas is behind Miami. And that's where the argument is. It's like, it's not that, okay, well, Texas can do it. Texas isn't playing this weekend. And what did we learn last season when the playoff penultimate rankings came on out? They said to us clear as day, they told us, you can't move on up from where you are. The only team that was going to move on up was going to be Alabama because they were the first team out. That was it. Depending on what happened with Clemson and SMU. Clemson won. Clemson got in. They didn't penalize SMU. That was it. So the next team that's out, it's Miami. That's it. That's all you can say.
Yeah, I think it's a dead convo too. I mean, listen, we are being greedy, if you will, as SEC Unfiltered. I'd love to see 8 SEC teams get in there, but
Well,
yeah,
I
I
think there's
think
7 that deserve it or at least deserve to be in the conversation for
yeah,
sure. At least
I think
7.
I think we're capped out though. I agree with you. I think it's a dead conversation with Vandy, with Texas. Unfortunately, as much as I hate it, you hate it. It's I mean, there's just not enough that can happen. There's just not enough that can happen this weekend. So, yeah, I mean, there you have it. From this layout, and again, Cole, we're going to get the final one Sunday. Whose path do you like the most to the Natty?
Are we saying from teams that aren't playing in the are we only saying teams that are playing in the first round or just in general?
How about this? We do first round and teams with the bye.
I will say I think Oregon has a really good argument. I think the winner of Texas A&M Notre Dame has a really good argument to get the national championship. I do. Whether or not that's fair, I think that's clear. Ole Miss is really tricky because it's one thing to beat Kirby Smart twice in a season. I get that. It's one thing to beat a team twice in the season. It's another thing to beat a team twice in the season or be able to split a series with the team in the season and do it with your head coach that will be coaching his first ever game against a G5 opponent and then Kirby Smart. That's really challenging. Alabama, if they don't fix some stuff, Ohio State, that's really, really tough. Yeah, I think that the winner of the Notre Dame Texas A&M game has a better shot of going than anybody else in the bracket right now on this side.
Yeah, I like it. I was going to say Texas A&M also. Even when the loss to Texas, I think that game is just such a standalone thing where it's like Texas has such a mental edge over them. I still think Texas A&M can make a run in the college football playoff. I'm not totally selling my stock on them because of one football game that they lost.
Overall, it's Georgia for me. Georgia,
Yeah.
you got to feel really confident in, especially if they win.
Yeah. I mean, I'm sitting here looking at it thinking we're shaping ourselves up for a Georgia-Ohio State national title again.
I will be really interested to see Texas Tech play Ohio State. Now, I think Ohio State will win that game. I do, because I think that Ohio State is the clear best team in the country. But I really, really, really am intrigued by that matchup if that were to happen. But I do think that you are right. I think that Georgia very much has in my opinion, best plot.
Yeah. Yeah. And again, so much can change, like you said, because what if Georgia does something they've done many times before and loses to Alabama in Atlanta in the SEC title? That jumbles some things around. Funny enough, I know plenty of Georgia folks that they're obviously pulling for the win, but I think deep down, if you gave them truth serum, they'd like a home playoff game in Athens. So, I don't know. It's going to be interesting. We'll see where the chips fall. We'd love to hear you guys' thoughts, your comments. We will take some questions here, Cole, before we get out of here. Really good stuff. And again, that Sunday show will be epic because we will get the final bracket, the final rankings, determine where everybody's going to go. We'll get bowl games. We'll have a lot to react to on Sunday. By the way, that show gets going on Sunday, 11 a.m. Central, noon Eastern. You can expect us to be live right then, if not right in that ballpark range within a 20-minute, 30-minute span, what have you, of when those rankings are dropping. So, how about this? Pac-Man says, "Go Texas Tech." We got some Big 12 love in the chat tonight. So some of your brethren from the Lone Star State have found their way in the chat.
Joey McGuire is a GOAT. Joey McGuire is the man. I love Joey McGuire. I really do. I think that Joey McGuire is one of the best coaches from a leadership standpoint in college football. Like, I would call him this next version of Dabo Swinney. I think that because of the Cody Campbell thing, Texas Tech can build a program that actually will be competitive alongside every team in the SEC and every team in the Big Ten. I love it. Like, if somehow, for some reason, all the SEC teams get knocked on out, brother, I'm pulling for my state. I want to see Wreckham Tech go all the way and then win a national title. I would love to see it, just for parity, and just not have the Big Ten win it again.
Here's a comment that'll make you vomit, Bear. Sooners for life OKC says a 16-team playoff will fix all of this.
Shut up. I'm sorry. I don't mean to be disrespectful to Sooner for life. You're probably a wonderful individual that watches this channel. You're a great person. I think that you are fantastic and your team earned their way to the playoff. I will die on that, and I would offend you. Stop talking. I want to hurl by just that comment. No,
don't
it
know what's
doesn't solve
worse,
anything.
that one or this one. He says there needs to be a college football version of March Madness.
Okay, I just take back everything I said about you. You do not have any idea what you're doing.
That's getting a little outrageous. That's getting a little outrageous.
Now we're just saying the regular season is just an exhibition, right? Is that where we're gonna go next?
Pretty much. Just for fun and games. David Gibson, you already talked about this, Bear. If BYU loses on Saturdays, does Miami or Notre Dame get in?
To be completely honest, David, I'll tell you right now, I think that Miami has a shot because of the ACC. I think somehow is going to get represented. And they will use the excuse of Miami played a college football playoff schedule because they played in a conference and they have a head-to-head win, and they will switch at the very last second. They will put Miami in. Or if BYU wins, solves everything because BYU just takes the place of Notre Dame, then they're on in. That's it.
Yeah, let's go to this one. I'm sure this is a measured take from Bama Hater 4955. How does Bama get a guaranteed spot regardless of how they lose in the SEC championship game? It is still 3 losses. He also asks, how can the committee honor head-to-head with OU over Bama but ignore Miami for Notre Dame? Start with the first point, Bear. Again, you cannot set the precedent of the team that finished first in the SEC. First. Not getting in the playoff because they lost the conference title game. Because if that's the case, they ought to opt out and not play the damn game.
They would opt out and not play the damn game. I wouldn't. Not even a little bit. Do me a favor, Bama Hater. Just out of curiosity. Just humor me, if you will. Tell me that right now, the number 1 team in the country, the number 1 team in the SEC, the one that's going to be wearing the red jerseys on Saturday, not Georgia, who's guaranteed a first-round bye, but Alabama. Leave them out. Watch how quickly Greg Sankey gets on the phone call with Tony Petitti and says, yep, we're starting our own thing now. Bye. Goodbye. Goodbye, ACC. Goodbye, Big 12. We don't care about you G5 clowns. We're done. Do that. Watch what happens. I implore you to root for that kind of chaos. And then say that then say the SEC ruined college football. Nope. College Football Playoff Committee ruined college football because they did it by this reason. They did it by this specific reason. That was why.
Second part of that, how can the committee honor head-to-head with OU for Bama but ignore Miami for Notre Dame? That's a great question. We've been asking that question
we've been asking all year.
Yeah, we've been asking that question for weeks. I'm not going to spend too much time on it, Cole, because I feel like I talk about it every single week, and I don't want to beat a dead horse. But I'm still just so adamantly, and I don't understand people that can't see it and understand it. The G5 needs their own playoff. It's not an elitist, you're not good enough to come to the party. I don't understand as a fan of a G5 program why you are happy with just being invited to the party when you don't have anywhere to sit down and you're never going to be at the head of the table. Like, I don't get why you would not want, as a fan of a G5 program, James Madison, North Texas, Appalachian State, who I pull for on a regular basis. Just name whoever. Tulane. Like, you can get in, but you're never going to win it. I don't think we're kidding ourselves. I don't think anybody realistically thinks any of these G5 teams can win the whole thing. It's not a shot at the G5. It's actually it's coming from a place of loving G5 football.
We care about the G5.
You care about it. Like, you can hoist a trophy, and you're not going to do that otherwise. You're just not. Like, let's not kid ourselves. Let's not fool ourselves into thinking that. Oh, there's parity. Stop it. It's not going to happen. And, like, taking away 2 spots potentially from a Vandy that earned it. Hell, from a Texas, if you want to go that far. Yeah. From a Miami, like, whoever. Like, 2 teams that I think actually could have a shot to win it. At least make a run. I just...
They've earned it. They've earned enough with the resumes to say they belong in because of what they've accomplished throughout the year. You're in because if you're invited. That's it. And by the way, I'll go a step further, Chris. I think a G5 team can actually win a game in the playoff. You get the right matchup. You go to the right location. You have a couple of opt-outs. You have the situation that's going on with Lane Kiffin right now. Things start going your way. You can win a game. Do that 3 more times against teams like Ohio State, Alabama, Georgia, Texas Tech, Oregon, Ole Miss, USC, Michigan, all of them. Oh, by the way, not one time, 3 more times. That's why we say you need your own playoff. It's not because of we don't think that you are a good team. It's not because of we don't care about the G5. It's because of Chris and I grew up rooting for G5 teams, so much so that they were FCS schools. And what happened when they were FCS schools? They won national championships. Don't you want to say that you can do something like that? Or do you just want to say, hey, we beat the number 7 team in the country, and then we got killed by the number 2 team next week? Is that what you want? One of you, by the way. And by the way, one of you. Everyone else of you, you're just sitting at home. You're playing in the Gasparilla Bowl. You're playing in the Bahamas Bowl. You're not playing for this stuff. One of you is. And you're winning 1 game at most.
Yeah. I mean, like I said, dude, I grew up watching with my grandfather Appalachian State win 3 straight national championships from 2006 to 2008, I believe the years were. Armani Edwards, legendary player. Anyways, everybody knows the story, the history, the Michigan game, all that, whatever. The day they went to FBS was a sad day. Not from a revenue perspective, but from a perspective, you'll never see your team not only go 3 in a row, you'll never even see them win 1.
Yep.
Georgia Southern, same thing. They're just an example of this. But, like, those were the FCS teams I would probably watch the most. I just, again, like, why would you not want an opportunity to win a national title? Like, I mean, there wouldn't be any shame in it. I mean, maybe they're scared people wouldn't watch it. I'd watch it.
I would watch.
You'd watch it.
Are you kidding?
I mean,
you in the comment sections would watch it because you're watching a live stream right now on 2 guys on the internet just talking about college football. You'd watch a G5 playoff. You absolutely would.
I don't know. Again, this is like a rant we could have every single week, but the thought of 2 G5 teams getting in is just outrageous. It's just outrageous. No disrespect, by the way, because I think JMU's a damn good football team. North Texas, they're good. They're good teams, but come on, man. Like, what are we doing?
And let's go a step further, man. You want to expand the playoff. Okay. Are we going to say that 1 G5 team is still getting in, or are we going to do this whole conference championship stuff? Because then what happens when it's 3 and other teams are being left out? That's it. I'm sorry. That's where we are. Hate to be that guy, but that's what it is. So you got to make some addendums. You got to make some changes. You got to go, truly, in my opinion, respect head-to-heads. Because what's the point of playing the game if you're not going to do it at some point? And we're at a finite level. Especially the college football playoff. The committee. Guys, Miami is a big brand. You may not have a representative from the ACC. You're very close. You're right there. Dude, how are you not at some point going, head-to-head has to matter? You're leaving it open.
Bear, that being said, let's put a pin in it again. We've got 1 more remaining of these shows reacting to the rankings, that being the final one, the most important one. We will find out the 12-team college football playoff, who's going where, who's got the buys, and I'm sure there will be a lot of stuff to debate and discuss in that one. So, that being said, appreciate you all tuning in, guys. As always, make sure you hit that like and subscribe button on YouTube. Check us out where you get your podcasts all across your favorite social media platforms, as well as our website, secunfiltered.com. Stay tuned to all of our content this week. Of course, guys, we dropped our SEC championship game preview today. We'll be at the game in Atlanta this weekend. Tons of other stuff coming throughout the week. Content bleeding out of the eyeballs as always. And with the way this news cycle's going, you better make sure you're subscribed and got the notifications on, because content is just flinging left and right. By the way, one last thing I will say, Cole, on a quick note, Jared Curtis tweeted just 20 minutes ago a statement essentially saying he was disappointed to see the media put that he had flipped from Georgia to Vandy, hadn't told anyone his final decision. He ends it with keeping my anchor down in Nashville. So there you go. Jared Curtis disappointed with the timing of it all and that it got out, but he is indeed keeping his anchor down in Nashville. So maybe it'll be Jared Curtis that gets the doors of the college football playoff. Maybe.
You know what? Fine. So be it. Go win the Heisman Trophy and be the second player in Vanderbilt history to win the Heisman Trophy. Because I swear to all Almighty, if we do not rally together as fans in America of college football, of us who root for underdog mentality stories and love to see the good guys win, you may call him an asshole. You may call him a bum. You may call him all the dirty little names in your book. But the man delivered on every single one of his promises, except for one that was the committee's fault. Let him deliver on this one. Let him win the damn award that is for college football's finest player. Because right now, he deserves to be college football's finest player. I am two-term with Diego Pavia. Now we two-term with Diego Pavia.
Indeed. Guys, once again, we appreciate you all tuning in. We're going to go and put a pin in it. Like I said, stay tuned throughout the week. Tons of stuff coming from us. Playoff rankings. Next round will be on Sunday, and SEC championship coverage all throughout the weekend. So with that being said, for Cole the Bear Thompson, I'm Chris Phillips. Before we get out of here, I almost forgot, I want to tell you about our friends over at FanDuel, because as always, we're brought to you by our friends at FanDuel, and you want to make sure you're betting on the game and all of the games this weekend for conference championship weekend. Sign up at FanDuel.com/SECU. FanDuel's giving new customers $300 in bonus bets. Your first $5 bet wins. Once again, FanDuel.com/SECU to get that $300 in bonus bets. All the conference title games, NHL, NBA, college basketball, everything in between. And of course, bowl season, which is just one of the most glorious times of the year, especially for us gamblers out there. So appreciate our friends at FanDuel. That being said, guys, y'all have a great rest of your Tuesday night. We'll talk to you tomorrow on the Overtime Drive. Till then, he's Cole the Bear Thompson. I'm Chris Phillips. Y'all have a great night. Peace.